Aggressive switch out into Swellow and its Sableye in the back due to our normal type in the Shadow Claws are resisted, but foul play is going to do a lot. Ouch, that hurt. Ty going straight for the Hail Mary. Does the opponent look to call the bait? They correctly shield up the Brave Bird. Shadow Claws now chunking Ty, makes the last second Sky Attack, but is Sky Attack going to be enough to knock out? Well, you're going to have to watch the video to find out. It's been a hot minute since my good friend Ty, aka Hakwa, has been featured on the channel. He's always bringing that phenomenal, spicy fire content, and today is no exception. He is using a very, very spicy anti-meta pick in Swellow. Swellow is a pretty good counter for the most common Pokemon you are going to see Sableye. Due to his normal typing, we do have a pretty good matchup there. However, the #1 ranked pick on PvPoke, Registeel resists all of his moves, so Ty is going to be pairing up with a Marshtomp, and we also have Shadow Gardavoir in the back. So without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we pick up the Nightmare lead. Our Swellow absolutely doesn't want to see any ice types, especially the Walrus. So we pivot out into Marshtomp, and it looks like the opponent is more than happy to stay in. Marshtomp can hit for neutral with Mud Bomb. However, the Walrus does have an advantageous matchup here. The opponent tanks the first tie, throws the second. This looks like a CMP tie, so the opponent does shield it up, and they throw energy, so Ty has managed to gain himself some advantage here in the mid game. Icicle Sphere takes care of Marshtomp. The Walrus is still pretty healthy, so Ty forced to show he's third. We come in to the Gardevoir. Ty looks to shield once, commit to the Charm Down, Farm Down. The Walrus goes down. What does the opponent come into? It's Shadow Swampert, even though we had residual energy. Good to go. We still get outpaced to the Hydro Cannon. Ty commits his shield. Can we Charm Down before the next Hydro Cannon? Yes, we can. Gardevoir absolutely going off, and it's Sableye in the back, an aggressive switch out into Swellow. Due to our part normal type, and we're double resisting the Shadow Claws, but foul play does a lot. Ouch, that hurt. Ty goes straight for the Hail Mary. Is the opponent looking to call the bait? They are not. They correctly shield up the Brave Bird. Can they Shadow Claw us down? No, they cannot. We make Sky Attack on minimal HP, but is Sky Attack enough to knock out? Of course it is. Who was worried? Swellow coming in clutch in game #1. Moving on to the next one. We see another Sableye, this time in the lead. The opponent pivots out into the flying toilet known as Pelipper. They go straight for the Weather Wall, and holy smoke, Swellow, not looking particularly bulky. Ty is going to return fire with the Brave Bird, and the opponent correctly shields. I'd have loved to see Brave Bird land on the toilet. I imagine it knocks out, but we're never going to know. Ty shields up the Weather Wall, looks to go for the Charm Down, Farm Down, and he does make it before the spammy Pelipper reached another charge move, and it's the Tin Can Registeel in the back. Gardevoir is going to go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball should do massive neutral damage. The opponent chooses to commit the final shield. They do throw energy. However, it's just a focus blast, so it looks like the opponent's looking to go for the lock-on Farm Down. Gardevoir running out of HP. We don't make the next Shadow Ball, so a great play from the opponent. However, Marshtomp, a pretty good wall to all this energy. The opponent blind throws the Zap Cannon. Is a simultaneous swap. Swellow into Sableye. We have got minimal HP. However, due to our double resistance to Ghost, we can make the Brave Bird. Brave Bird is going to obliterate Sableye. Hi Sableye, bye Sableye. Registeel does come back out, one lock on, takes us out. Ty now able to make the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb gonna be enough to knock out Registeel, and we manage to take that game. Moving on to the next battle, we see another flying toilet, this time in the lead. We've already seen that Weather Ball does a lot of damage. The opponent does choose to overfarm, giving Ty the chance to land the Brave Bird. Does the opponent respect the damage? Sadly they do. We now pivot out into Gardevoir. It looks like the opponent is getting some stutter lag. We sneak a Charm. If that Charm knocks out, Pelipper is going to be denied of a lot of energy. The opponent lags once again, and the opponent literally says, fuck this game, and they concede the match. A very unfortunate turn of events. Hashtag Niantic, fix your fucking game. Moving on to the next one. We lead Swellow into Marwild. Due to us being on a full flying moveset, Marwild does resist absolutely everything. This opponent is actually running Fairy Wind and Power Up Punch. Interesting. They then decide to throw another Power Up Punch at our Fairy. That is also interesting. And why not throw a third? If you're going to bait once, bait twice, and why not just keep masturbating all the way? And this masturbator is going to go for a fourth power-up punch. Gardavoir is going to shrug it off, and Ty is going to commit to the Charm Down, Farm Down. That is probably one of the strangest opening matchups I have ever seen, but Ty does now have his choice on alignment. In comes Swampert. Ty goes straight for the Shadow Ball, and the opponent does shield it up. It's then the Wham Bam combo play. Ty serving up the Big Mac and the fries. Lands the Brave Bird. Swampert gets absolutely nuked. And the opponent has Flygon in the back. Swellow still not done. Draws the final shield with the Sky Attack. This Flygon does have quite a lot of residual energy. Ty brings in his Marshtomp. The opponent could go for an Earthquake. They've got a whole boatload of energy, but it's just a Dragon Claw. Ty thinks if you're going to masturbate 26 times in the opening matchup, you're probably going to masturbate again. The opponent does throw the bait. Ty lands the Surf. We can tank this move. Come in with Gardevoir, and one charm is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, Swellow into Sableye. You love to see it. What you also love is that the opponent is staying in. The opponent attempts to catch a Sky Attack on the Tin Can. Ty, far too smart, he answers with Marshtomp, and Marshtomp is going to outpace to the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb, not the best move, but still gets Registeel down. Below 50% HP, Ty can tank any one move. He can definitely tank the resisted Zap Cannon. Ty now over farms, fires off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb probably won't knock out due to the opponent getting the debuff. However, Ty can shield this up if he wants alignment. Ty chooses to allow his Marshtomp to go down. We now come into the Gardevoir. Go for the resisted Charm Down. Sableye surely can't return, as it would get eaten alive by the Shadow Gardevoir. The opponent agrees with my analysis and sends out their final Pokemon, which is Vigoroth. Ty commits a shield on the Body Slam. He now pivots out into Swellow. He's looking to get some shields off the opponent. We go straight for the Sky Attack. Sky Attack does draw a shield. The opponent makes one more Body Slam. This shouldn't be lethal. Despite Swellow being super squishy, the opponent now pivots out into Sableye, and I think that's a huge mistake. Despite us being quite low, the opponent's going to have a tough time of Shadow Clawing us down. The opponent does go for the Shadow Claw, Farm Down, and as I said, you trainer aren't going to make it. Swellow makes the Sky Attack. We get a whole heap of lag, so it looks like the opponent has Rage Quit the app. And to be honest, that was a noob play. Switching out, looking for the double resisted Shadow Claw, Farm Down, which was never happening, and Ty takes another dub. Moving on to the next one. Ty picking up another great lead. Swellow doesn't have the most advantageous matchups in this meta, but it does hard check the most common pick. They now pivot out into the top pick, and Ty again has the perfect response. We land the Mud Bomb. The last opponent went for a Zap Cannon. This opponent also goes for a Zap Cannon. Once again, they do get the attack drop. It looks like that possibly is the play, because you're actually able to win the zeros if you get a debuff. Ty lands the Mud Bomb. Again, we're not able to outpace to the next one. Ty again lets it go. It's looking like deja vu. We come in to Gardevoir. One charm takes out Reggie. This opponent does actually return with Sableye, and holy smokes, stay in school, kids. Learn to count. Aggressive pivot out into Swellow, and it is Medicham in the back. The opponent has two shields to hide behind. However, Swellow already at the first Sky Attack, draws the first shield. Medicham is going to throw a charge move. They need to go for an Ice Punch or a Psychic, but again, we found a Master Baiter, and that Master Bait probably is going to seal their fate, as Swellow will be getting the final shield off the opponent. Medicham now deep in the yellow. The opponent does commit to the full counter Farm Down. Ty can safely shield up whatever they throw. It is just a power-up punch. The opponent makes one more charge move, but this is a double resisted power-up punch. Gardevoir is going to shrug it off. The opponent pivots out into Sableye. That gets farmed down, and Gardevoir farms down the Medicham for another impressive dub. Moving on to the next one. We see Swellow into Gardevoir. Holy crap, charm is neutral. It looks super effective because we did not tank that particularly well. The opponent pivots out into Medicham to catch a Sky Attack, and oh my days, they near get one shot. We snipe with our own Gardevoir. Medicham made a very brief cameo appearance in this battle. The opponent now brings out their own Gardevoir. They get charmed farmed all the way down, and it's a Deoxys in the back. The opponent is looking to go for the double resisted counter farm down, but Gardavoir hangs on, fires off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball and just the charms have got this opponent deep into the yellow, and we got a pretty good response in our Marshtomp. The opponent can only go for Psycho Boost, everything else is resisted. The opponent doesn't choose to shield up the Mud Bomb. The opponent goes for the Psycho Boost, that does respectable damage, however lowers their own attack. The opponent throws one more Psycho Boost, that doesn't knock out, so the opponent throws a third Psycho Boost, and it looks like Ty is opting to go for the 2 shield flex. So we come in to Swellow, farm down and take another dub. GG's. Moving on to the next one. We see Swellow into Shadow Swampert. Swellow, not the bulkiest I imagine Hydro Cannon, does a lot of damage. Ty chooses to tank it and we're left deep in the red. Luckily though, we aren't in danger of getting Mudshot farmed down just yet. We go straight for the Hail Mary. The opponent commits the shield aggressive switch into Gardavoir. Gardavoir definitely doesn't survive, so Ty chooses to shield it up. The opponent looks to pivot out into Sableye, transferring a charm, and holy smoke, Sableye straight in and straight out, back out comes Swampert. The opponent throws a charge move on 1 HP and a Dream Hydro Cannon takes us out. We come in to Marshtomp, 1 Mudshot takes us out, and it's Registeel in the back. This opponent should be looking for that top left, however they are not, so Ty is going to unleash the Mud Bomb. The opponent shields it up. Nothing the opponent throws is going to be lethal. They go for the Focus Blast. Marshtomp is left deep in the red, but we're not going to get lock-on farm down. The opponent still hasn't top left, so Ty throws the Mud Bomb. The next Mud Bomb would be lethal. However, Ty, being the king of BMs, looks like he is going to play with his food. We shield up the Focus Blast, get towards the back-to-back charge moves. He goes for the disrespectful Surf, hitting no bubbles, and then gives him a Mud Bomb as well. And I think the moral of the story is, if there's no wink on, just top left. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see the battle of the Spy Stores. We lead our Swellow into Minun. We pivot out into Gardavoir, and the opponent stays in, farms up a whole boatload of energy, but at the cost of being absolutely wrecked by Charm. The opponent fires off the discharge at terrible timing. They get charmed farmed all the way down, and now they bring in the flying toilet. Gardavoir with residual energy fires off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does draw a shield from the opponent. The opponent commits to the full wing attack farm down, however the flying toilet now deep in the red. Ty clicks the no shield. The opponent lands the Hurricane. They pivot out into Sableye. Ty banks a move and sends back out his Swellow. Swellow is going to survive a move unless the opponent throws the return. It's just a foul play. The opponent threw at 10, so Ty, like the genius that he is, throws 2 wing attacks. CMP Ty in the Sableye to the next foul play. It takes 6 Shadow Claws for the first, 6 for the second. This cycle is only going to be 5. However, Swellow is going to outspeed it. This Sky Attack will be taking care of the Sableye. Back out comes Pelipper. They wing attack farm us all the way down. They've got a move, and unfortunately Ty loses the match. Moving on to the next one. It's the battle of the Flyers, Swellow versus Pelipper. Who will prevail this time? Ty not building up to the Brave Bird, opting to go straight for the Sky Attack. Pelipper still commits a shield, and we see a pivot out into Gardavoir, and hello, Mr. Opponent. They answer with Medicham. Possibly the strangest switch I have ever seen. The opponent fires off the Ice Punch. Gardavoir tanks it, then commits to the Charm Down, Farm Down, and it's Altaria in the back, and that probably explains the very strange switch. That opponent really thought Gardavoir was a myth, however it is not. Moving on to the next battle. Swellow into Altaria. Ty going straight for the Hail Mary. Brave Bird. The opponent decides to commit a shield. We aggressively switch out into Gardavoir, and the opponent answers with Sableye. Ty can easily shield up this foul play, commit to the full Charm Down, Farm Down. Altaria did exit with a move. However, we haven't really got a great response for Altaria, so Ty is going to opt to shield this up. The opponent gifting us a way of getting rid of this Altaria. We can now commit to the full Charm Down, Farm Down. Altaria gets absolutely deleted, and it's going to be a Medicham in the back. Shadow Ball will be drawing the final shield from the opponent. Ty now sends back out his Swellow on the 6th counter, switches out into Marshtomp, making a great catch. Stay in school, kids. Learn to counter, take 6 counters, 2 each Ice Punch. Medicham now throws on what I believe to be 5. Is this a power-up punch? Surely not. The opponent does throw a power-up punch, and my counting is accurate. The opponent is looking to go for the counter farm down and then hit the Swellow with a charge move. However, Marshtomp says, I think not. This next surf is going to be more than enough to knock out. Very nicely done. Moving on to the next battle, we lead Swellow into Altaria. Again, we haven't got the best response for Altaria as it beats both our front Pokemon and our back Pokemon. So Ty is going to go straight for the Hail Mary. Does the opponent respect the damage? Yes, they do. We now pivot out into our hard check of Gardavoir. We are going to have to shield up the Sky Attack. However, any charm damage we do get off is going to be advantageous, and the opponent pivots out into Sableye. Sableye doesn't even make a charge move. Gardavoir on an absolute rampage. The opponent now sends out their final Pokemon, which is a Medicham. The double resisted counters can't counter us down before a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball draws the final shield off the opponent. They finally get the full counter farm down, but they're left deep in the red. Ty now sends out his Marshtomp, operating as the damage sponge. The opponent full sends the Psychic. We now pivot out into Swellow. We get the farm down and the opponent top left. So I believe if you're going to play this cup, please don't run triple weak to charm, or you're going to have a very sad time like that final opponent. So a huge thank you to Ty for the battle submission. He is featured regularly on the channel and he always brings some phenomenal content. Huge shout out for the fun battle submission. We've actually got another battle submission later on in the week from Ty, but if you'd like your battles featured on the channel, a link to my battle submission form is down below. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing, and I'd like to say thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.